Cheers. Hell yeah.
Here we go. Dude, how fitting. Oh, there's a vodka in here?
I think it's vodka.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? Well, goddamn, I didn't think I'd start my day like this.
Yeah, dude, I had to bring something, man. I'd never been on someone else's podcast before.
I had my first time on someone else's a couple of days ago. I was on Bassano's, Mike Bassano's.
I was just listening to his episode, yeah.
Yeah, that was really interesting to be on the other side of the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to really think about any questions. I could just kind of free flow.
Yeah, pressure's off.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel you haven't been doing this for that long, right?
Like
The
2
podcast?
months. Yeah, about 2 months.
You've got a ton of episodes, man.
Yeah.
And that's cool because I've technically had mine for like 3 years.
No kidding.
And yeah, and I have like 18 episodes. Part of the reason is because I wanted to do video, right? And so I just started doing that. And motherfuck, is it a task?
It is. It really is.
The editing is not that hard when you can cut out the oohs and ahs through audio, but with video, stuff just looks interesting on camera, and I fool myself into thinking that it's going to be interesting on audio.
I see.
And yeah, and I have a thing with just like buying equipment that I'm not going to use.
I'm the same way. Same way. And then I can never sell it because they're unsellable.
Yeah, dude, I just fool myself into thinking like if I get the good shit, then I'll be good. And it's not the way it works.
Dude,
I'm finding.
for this podcast, I actually went to, I did so much research where I was like, okay, because I was the same way. I like the best shit.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I got to be really smart about this because I'm fucking jobless.
Yeah.
So I literally was like, I had an upgrade on my phone, so I didn't get a camera. I just upgraded my phone, and then this is right here is my favorite piece of equipment ever. Like, I've worked with cameras, I've worked with other sound stuff, but this right here is just so user friendly and it's so reliable, dude.
Yeah.
And it's about $100. So
Cool, man.
yeah. What's your podcast about?
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know yet, dude. And that's the thing. I started having guests on not that long ago, and I had one with 4 people about 6 months ago.
I see.
I can't publish it now for reasons I can't explain, but it's just too much work, and so I want to do it more just me.
Dude, that's a great way, especially
Yeah.
because I mean, I was talking to someone about it earlier today, Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
He's like one of those guys where he doesn't need a guest. He can just fucking riff off whatever topics the producers give him or whatever he wants to talk about, and everything is so interesting that he says.
Yeah.
I think you do well with that.
Thanks,
honestly.
man. Yeah, I have recorded. I mean, I don't know. You sit down and you start to do one on your own, and sometimes it's dog shit. And the thing is, part of the reason why it's a defense mechanism. Part of the reason why I don't want to have a guest is because if I embarrass myself, I'm embarrassing myself, and it's just me in there, right? If I have someone over, I've had a couple that guests before where like they sucked, so I didn't publish it, and then I've had a couple where I've sucked and I publish it because I don't want them to think that I wasted their time.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah.
I don't like going back to like kind of like the process of all this, dude. I say it's just simplify it. You know what I mean? If you have, don't worry about the uhs and ums.
Yeah.
Because that, dude, you'll just because I found out, especially doing it like with in film, when I would do it in documentaries, when I would take out the ahs and ums, there was no room for the audience to kind of like have what the person just said settle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because it's so natural for us to say and like I'm sure I've done it already 20 times just
Sure.
4 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one thing. And then like the only time I really cut out uhs and ums is when I do those clips.
Yeah, and I think another thing is like I'm just tired of hearing myself talk. I'm so tired of myself, dude. Like we both go to open mics
Right.
a lot, and I mean doing awfully at one and then going down to sit down to do a podcast is like I couldn't make them laugh. I'm not gonna. Sometimes I don't know, man. It's a coin toss these days. But right now I'm kind of I'm not stressing about like how often I'm gonna. By the way, we're podcasting about podcasting now, and so you feel free to pivot anytime now. But I kind of want to just have it for now. I'm not sticking myself to like this rigid schedule. I just release one when I release one.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like anyone's listening anyway.
And that's why I don't really edit anything out unless you or the guest feels like, okay, we need to cut this out. You know what I mean? Which, if any time you feel that way, just let me know. So when I'm editing, I can cut it out.
Cool.
But yeah, I know that was my thing. I was just like, well, no one's gonna fucking listen to us anyway, so fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna post it up, like the whole thing unedited. You know what I mean, on YouTube, and just go with it.
Yeah, man, and see what happens. You know,
Yeah.
I think one thing that you're a funny dude, and it's people want to see stuff when it's raw and watch it grow. You know, like when I discover a podcast, like I'll go to the beginning,
Right.
and just kind of, even though it already happened, like I'm discovering it, and so I'm growing with it. You know, so yeah, man.
And I feel like, especially with mine, it's just like the whole point of it is just for me to learn. Like, again, dude, it was crazy because today a comedian was just like, yeah, dude, I've seen all the commercials, and he just started, and he was just like, they help me, you know, or they help him. Whatever clips I pick is helping him with his comedy.
Right.
So that's one thing that now I'm starting to see, like, people come out and say that they've been watching and they've actually been learning and shit like that. So that for me is like, it's also gratifying. You know what I mean? That people are taking the time to kind of like listen to what you guys have to say, because again, the whole thing is really just me trying to learn. Like, I'm kind of like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You know what I mean? Like, I can bring the skills of whatever filmmaking skills I have into this, and more so, it's just you guys just teaching me, because I've learned so much from everybody, dude. There's not been one person that at least haven't given me at least one nug that I haven't taken to the stage.
For sure, man. I'm so grateful for stand up so far. And it's I mean, you know that it sucks.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot, and you suck with other people who suck. And then you get better, and everyone else around you gets better, ideally. And it's a cool thing, man. Like, sometimes I'll just trip out on the fact that I'm doing it, just doing open mics.
Right.
You know, like I have shows and stuff too, but like it's the daily mics. Like, it feels like I've heard it described as like trying to paint a mountain with one stroke at a time. Just like with like if you could picture like you're just dipping this bucket of paint, and you're just drawing and drawing and drawing, and eventually it starts to like have some dimensionality. You know, it's not just like this line on the ground. Like, it's got a foundation to it. There's something to it now. You know, and yeah.
How long have you been doing comedy?
2 years this last May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you start?
It's a good question, man. I've always liked. I think the first time I got a taste of like what it was like to like perform is are you familiar with Abbott and Costello? I'm sure
Yes.
you are.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got this sketch, I guess, called Who's on First. And
Yeah.
So me and my brother one year, my brother Daniel, we got this animatronic, like foot tall Abbott and Costello, and you just push a button, then they did the entire thing, like the full 9 minutes. And me and my brother would like memorize it, like we would just watch and listen, like and we would like quote it and get laughs and stuff, and so that felt cool. But I think it had been a while after that since I like discovered like stand up. I remember seeing like, you know, my parents would watch. They got like a Bill Cosby special on every once in a while, and like I would watch that. I don't know if I was ready for it, but I could tell that it was funny. I didn't know why yet, but I could tell like this is something special,
Right.
You know,
Right.
And kind of just tripping out on the fact that like this was this guy's job. Like, he didn't have to run around. Like, that's how he went to work. Like, he didn't have fucking documents and files and like a briefcase to carry around. You know,
Right.
Yeah. What about you?
Why I started?
Yeah.
It was always something I wanted to do. Like you, I was a kid, and Jim Carrey was just like the guy I would always watch.
Yeah.
And then Mad TV and SNL, you know what I mean? Like, kind of those sketches where just being funny was just like, holy shit, seems so far away, especially for Filipinos.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's something I never saw a Filipino who's a comedian until like Joe Coy and J.R. de Guzman. So
Yeah.
the whole stand-up thing, I was always told that could possibly do it. I just never had the balls to do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like 8 years ago when I was living in San Francisco, I had my first like 3 minutes ready. I went to my first open mic and everyone before me bombed, and like 2 people before me, I just left.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about it up until literally about 3 weeks before I did my first open mic 3 months ago. And immediately I fell in love with it, dude. I bombed at least the first half, you know what I mean? And then I was a little drunk, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So that the alcohol kicked in, and then it really helped. And I stepped off stage, I was like, my girlfriend was right, I shouldn't do this.
Uh-huh.
But she was the first person to come up to me and she's like, you have to do this.
Yeah.
You have to. And I was like, what? I was like, I literally just bombed. And she goes, no, you didn't. You had the loudest laughs. I was like, what? And I thank God that my dad recorded it, because if he didn't, I don't think I would have done it ever again.
Yeah, I think there's something pushes you to do it.
Right.
Whatever it is. But
Agreed.
Someone said to me, I don't know. It's probably to someone else, and then I just listened to it on a podcast. That's how I learn stuff, you know. I get my news from fourth wall open mics, but someone
Super
said,
reliable though, more reliable than CNN. I'll tell you that much,
dude. So far, man. And someone said it's never as bad. It's never as good as you think it is, but it's also never as bad.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like. That's been mostly true so far. Like every once in a while, like I'll have like a really good mic or a really good show, and like it's as good as it felt, right? But yeah, I kind of stand up. I kind of just always figured that I would do it. I just always thought like I'm gonna do that. I didn't think about like selling. I mean, I'll never sell an arena. I don't think that's within my spirit. You know, I don't think I'm capable of that. But I figured like to some scale, I'll do stand up one day. Mm-hmm. And I was not super young, but definitely like before like middle school. And in high school, I met some of my best friends today in Bakersfield. And they were just like the most unique and most funny people that I knew. Yeah. And they were worlds funnier than me, I think. And so it just kind of started with like trying to make them laugh, because I felt like if I could, I was already hanging around them and stuff, but I didn't really feel like I belonged until I started to get those kinds of laughs.
Yeah.
But yeah, just real quick, I also, I don't know if I told you this already, but I told my friends and family that I had like been doing stand-up for years before I ever did it.
No kidding.
Yeah. Like I told, like the people that loved me do it, and they were like proud of me for it and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know, I've been, you know, and they're like, how's it going? Like, you know, it's tough. But I'm getting laughs, and like I would just regurgitate shit that like I would hear comics say on their podcasts or whatever it was early in their careers, like they're talking about mics, and I would just copy paste like shit.
No kidding. Dude.
Yeah, dude, I was a fucking liar.
Why?
Because it didn't come from nowhere. Don't get me wrong, like I was definitely lying, but I was writing. I wrote for the stage, like I was writing bits and stuff for like a full 7 years before I ever did it once.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but the reason why it took me so long was because one of the reasons, but I think the most prevalent one was like I thought it was about the words, and to an extent it is, but I was so meticulous about how I would write, and it was like surgical with like the syllables, and it was like music, you know?
Right.
And I thought that you had to have it just like memorized and memorized.
Yeah.
And I would never really do it out loud because I knew immediately, oh, this isn't going to work. I can't just do it out loud. I just have to memorize it. And same as you, I went to one open mic right before pandemic,
Oh wow.
and it was not Next Up, but Rock'em something. I won't remember it, but I signed up and then left. I just didn't,
Yeah.
like, they called my name and I just didn't say anything. And the thing was, dude, like, everyone was pretty good.
Yeah, man, that
And so
makes it worse.
I thought that's what open mics were. I thought everyone was
like a show almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought everyone was pretty good.
Right.
And so then I just didn't. And so I just didn't. And then right after pandemic ended, I remember I was listening to Rogan, and he was talking to someone about just starting to he was just starting to build his club in Austin. And he was talking about like, yeah, this is going to be like a place for the comics. Like, and I want newcomers to be here and I want all of this and that. And I just started thinking like, dude, if it takes as long as they say to find your voice, whatever that means, right? Like this club could open and close before I'm ready. And so I was, and I had just been so tired of lying. Like my girlfriend now, I told I was doing
No
like
kidding,
before
dude.
when we met, I told I told her I did stand up and she would ask like, how is that? I'm like, oh, it's good. It's great. You know, it sucks sometimes, but I get laughs. And so I just got tired. Like my grandma thought I was getting paid to do stand up comedy
No fucking way, dude.
before I did it once. And I guess so I got tired of that dude because I was a liar.
Yeah.
And so I figured like I was journaling and I was sick and tired of like calling myself a bitch. And so I just like I was like when I put the pen down, like I'm putting it down and I'm driving to the nearest mic. And so I drove to the Ha Ha for their Wednesday or something bucket mic. And the guy asked like you could do 5 or 10 minutes. And so yeah, he was like, what do you want? I was like 10.
No fucking way, dude.
Yeah,
Jesus, bro.
And so, and then he was like, all right, cool. And he didn't think about it. And so he gave me the ticket. And then I went into the bathroom and like, I was like shadow boxing in the bathroom. Right. And I was like, just like losing my mind going like 10 minutes. Are you fucking kidding me? You take the universal amount of time that's too long for most open micers and you double it your first time, you know?
Yeah.
And so then I ended up I was like third or fourth on the lineup. And I didn't do any material. Like when I think back on it and like I talk about it out loud, like it sounds so, I don't know, pretentious or whatever, or like really self-important, but like it felt like a spiritual experience because I went up there and I told the truth. I didn't do any material. I told the truth. I told about how my grandma thought I was getting paid and my girlfriend who I love and my mom, like, and I got laughs, like, and it was like spiritual, you know? And so I drove home and I never told anyone this, but anyone else. I told my mom. She was the first one I called and I was like, hey, I'm a fucking piece of shit liar, but I'm not anymore because now I do stand up. And then I told my girlfriend that night when she came over, but, and they received it how I hoped, which was with love and going like, well, why would you do that? And
Right.
like, oh, well, now I'm proud of you again, but now you deserve it.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's get into that, the fucking lying thing, because I feel like in my experience that a lot of Filipinos will do that.
Lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lie straight up out of their ass, dude.
Filipino town, dude. That's what we do.
Filipinos. Yeah. So let's get into that. Like for me, I just feel like it's because of the pressure parents put on us, man, when we're kids, you know what I mean? And it's like, we kind of have to fucking finagle our way into being like, maybe like a white lie almost, right? Like one of those things where it's just like, no, I didn't do that. Or yeah, I did do that, but I didn't, you're not going to admit to all of it type shit.
Yeah.
I wonder where that stems from, man. I wonder what that is because I'm not going to lie. My parents are immigrants. I've seen them lie a little bit. Sure. You know what I mean? But it's just weird how it feels like it's common with Filipinos
to lie.
Yeah.
And to steal.
but never get caught.
Yeah, we're very good at it. Mostly women, mostly Filipino women. Yeah, I worked at a lot of restaurants, and every time I saw a Filipino, I was like, I can't.
Same here,
I'm
dude.
not going to take them. They steal. And my manager would go like, "That's racist." And I'm like, "I'm Filipino."
So it can't be racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll watch and they'll steal. I'm like, "Yeah, I told you." Like they'll take full. My grandmother has, like, Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah.
She has full multiple jelly holders.
No way.
Like with
dude.
with the Knott's Berry Farm jelly, but the metal holders. She's got like 3 of them. Right? And so and like cups and Tabasco bottles.
I remember like at a McDonald's, like my mom would tell me to go inside and grab a shit ton of napkins.
That's right.
Right? We go to Chevron and my dad would be fucking taking out all the fucking paper napkins in there. So it's like they're stealing, but they're like stealing free stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So is it okay? Yeah, I think so. You know what I mean? They're stealing from corporations. It's not like we're going to a neighbor's house and like we're taking their fucking dog.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But real quick on that, even if you were, though, just do a better job with the dog than the neighbor would. I really believe that, dude. If you're gonna steal a dog, be better for the dog. Don't be worse. If you're marginally better, then I don't think it's wrong.
That's fair. I would say that's fair. It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this because I've been doing this podcast, like you said, this is number 21, so it's only right that we drink on it.
Cool.
Vegas, baby.
Right on.
But a lot of people say it takes years for them to develop their voice. Now, again, I'm very new at this, only 3 months in, but I feel like you already have a voice, which to me, it's wild. That like you see some comics up there, and then obviously they study other comics, and they're doing the same thing physically and the way they intonate. You know what I mean? Their cadence of how they tell the jokes.
Yeah.
I don't know who you study, but you all around together, the only one I believe, you're fucking different than everybody, dude. The way you present yourself and the way I love about you is that you embrace the silence.
Yeah.
You embrace the silence, and that is so hard for me to do. Yeah. I'll even have to just throw an or a let's see, you know what I mean, something. But you will sit there and just I see you thinking. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
So I don't know how you did it, but I feel like again, like and I'm very novice at this, but I feel like you have your voice already, and this is something that other comics have said. This is like a 5-10 year thing they have to find.
Yeah.
But it seems like you have yours. Do you agree with that, or how do you feel about that?
Thanks, man. I mean, that's a pretty cool compliment. I don't. It's hard to say if I have that voice. I think like I don't know.
Like it doesn't.
I still don't really know what that means.
The thing is that it doesn't look like you're performing. That's what it is.
Okay.
A lot of people, like I remember my first open mic, I had to do like a performance because my writing was shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like my performance and energy was there, but I like you because it seems like all your material is just taken from real life experiences.
Yeah.
Right? And you can riff off that. And maybe it's because that's how you started. Maybe because you had 10 minutes where you just had to tell the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and every time I see you at an open mic, dude, it's just like, dude, this really happened to you. And I can tell, like, you're a great storyteller, bro. And again, dude, it's wild to me how you, out of everyone I've met, have just a different way of performing or just talking. And then I went to go see you at the Fourth Wall, actually, a show.
Yeah.
And dude, it was wild, bro. I could not believe it, man.
Cool, man. Thanks, dude.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think one thing that I can say for sure, if it's at a show or an open mic, is I'm still like back to those 7 years of feeling like this is what I was gonna do, and then those few years where I was like not doing it, but everyone thought I was, right? Was like. I'm just so happy to be doing it, right? And I can kind of like, if it's going well or if it's going bad, like I'll jump out of my body sometimes and go like, man, this is, you're doing it, right? And you're doing it with like not that much history of evidence that you can even, right? Like stand up specifically. Like I think half, I don't know. People say half of, whatever the percentage is, but like I think like a good portion of it is like trying to like get with girls.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like trying stuff out, and you're trying to like read, like, is this working for you? And I think I pride myself in like being pretty perceptive of like whether someone like likes me or not. And I think that's where it starts. Like if I'm watching and there's if it goes on too long, if someone's starting to drone, much like I am now, like I start to want to kill them. Yeah. I don't want to listen to them anymore, right? Yeah. And I think I was telling someone this the other day. I think part of the problem is so many comics at our level don't know how to bring the audience along. What are you trying to say?
But you do it well, dude. I will not lie. You do it. Like, if that's a fucking thing that you don't know how you do, then all power to you, because that is so hard it's a struggle for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying to catch their attention and shit, but it seems like you have figured it out, bro.
Yeah.
Really.
Cool, man. Thanks. I mean, I hope it gets better. I hope this isn't for nothing,
Right. Yeah, of course.
And I can't think about that at all without going into some sort of a spiral. And so right now I'm just trying to like just be fucking grateful for Joe Menente, honestly, man. Like, and the place that he built, and like and other mics too, but that place, it was the second mic I went to, and by a massive majority, that's the place I go to.
Oh yeah, me too.
And it just feels like what I dreamed that place would look like.
Yeah, dude.
Like when I pictured doing stand up and I heard about open mics and like it's dark and it's dirty and
dungeon.
It's dungeon, everything's black. Dead comics line the walls. The bathroom is garbage. There's a pile of rubble in the corner and someone pissed all over it 10 minutes earlier, Yeah. There's always a piece of shit not in the toilet. Right? Like that is what I want. But I just love doing it, man. And I love hanging with you guys. Like people talk about like how they want to learn to make a crowd laugh. Like they don't want to make other comics laugh necessarily. I do want to learn how to do that, but I get the greatest joy out of making comics laugh.
Right.
Like that's the sweet spot.
I think that's harder,
me, man. Like I love that.
I think it's way harder than fucking making a regular audience laugh. Way to make comedians laugh, you know what I mean? It's so hard, especially the ones that are experienced. Like we're talking about right now, the NoHo one. Good God, go to the open mic out there. Jeez, you get nothing.
Yeah,
dude,
nothing.
Nothing.
No.
And when you get it, it is earned.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Any tips though? Like what do you do to kind of like prepare for an open mic or for a show? Like what's your writing process like, if that? Because again, like I said, it just seems like you have these stories and you take them to the stage and then you figure them out at an open mic. That's what it seems like. It doesn't seem like and if you do write, it's just like jotting shit down.
Right. I think because I took so much time away from myself, like just being obsessive and surgical with the writing, I've swung in the completely other direction. Like I'll write out bits now, but if I overwrite it, then something kind of dies.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
And particularly for shows, I will be working on something for a week or 3 days or whatever it is, but almost without fail, I step on stage and it all goes out the window. I don't do that material.
Jesus, dude. Good God.
And I don't know if that's a great thing. I think like it does force you. I think that is more of a long game muscle to build. But I think in the short term, it's stunningly, it's worked out pretty well so far. I have had a couple instances where I kind of fuck myself that way, but I want it to feel real for the audience, but I need it to feel real for me.
Right.
Because if I run something for a week and, I do it 2 or 3 times in that week or a day for that week, like, and rarely I'll do that. But if I did that, it's dead.
Yeah, it loses its legs, dude.
Yeah, dude, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think like if someone is reading off a teleprompter and it's objectively funny, but they are not into it, they feel like they are lying, which is how I feel when I repeat bits, then it'll fall flat. At the very best, it works.
Right.
But when a comic is up there and you could tell that they're just like telling the truth,
Yeah.
the baseline jumps way up.
Right.
Because they feel like the audience feels like this is just for me.
Damn, bro. Damn.
That's what I
That's
think.
good,
I don't know. That could
bro.
be nothing.
Holy shit. I see that now.
But when you go up for a show, how do you know? Like, do you ever switch gears and like in the middle of a bit or something you decide like I don't really want to do this anymore, and you're kind of like running overtime? I love that feeling, like you're just in a different gear that you can't. It's very difficult to get into in a great open mic, right? But do you ever pivot last moment and go like, fuck this, like I'm on to the next thing, or this is something I've never worked out on stage before, or this is a new thought,
I've only had one show, so I can't really answer.
Okay.
Yeah, but in terms of open mics, I've done that maybe a handful of times, and the most recent time I did it was Jacob Rosales' No Bad Mics. Have you been there? You should go, bro. You should go. You kill there. It's great. It's a great room.
Jacob Rosales, cool.
And that was the first time I had, like, I had my bits ready, and that was the first time where in the middle of it, because I was getting so much laughs on a joke, I just pivoted into some of the material I had prepped for that joke. And I went into that, and it fucking killed, bro.
Yeah.
And that was the first time where I was like, okay, I can see how people kind of like throw their bits into the conversation now. Because some of the bits that I worked on, I'd never even flushed out before. It was just an experience that I had with my dad, and I just was riffing on it and talking about it, and I had the whole room, bro. And that was like a week or two ago, and I haven't been able to replicate that yet because I don't know, dude. Like I was talking to another comic about this, but I just struggle from going from an improv mic to an open mic. Like I don't know if you saw it yesterday. The improv mic, I got bits out of that, dude. Like the whole British, the accent thing.
Right.
I'm writing. I wrote a whole bit about that now. And then I go onto the open mic, and all the stuff that I prepped and written, I got nothing, bro.
Yeah.
And that stuff that I prepped, I practiced at the Fourth Wall Cafe like the day before, and it killed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a writer's room, and they were giving me all this feedback, and I tried it, and I was like, dude, so I don't know how to just fucking make it sound like I'm having a conversation yet. This is why I'm saying you do so well, dude, where it's just like,
man.
again, I don't know how your writing process is, but I'm assuming it's just, what I just said, where you just jot shit down and life experience, but you do that so well to where I'm like, that's what they're talking about with the voice.
Yeah.
Like you don't need that. And maybe it's because you're just naturally talented at riffing on the truth up on stage. But dude, I find it so difficult for not only myself, but I see it with other comics who've been doing it for years.
Right.
And it just comes out so natural for you. Even the first day I saw you, bro.
Yeah.
It was just like, holy fuck, who is this guy?
Thanks, man. Again, like that's a really cool compliment. The way that I'm starting to look at, and I think this began when I stepped off stage from my first mic. I don't know if you felt this way, but the second I stepped off stage, I felt like a better writer. I couldn't put my finger on what it was that made me feel that way. But something about the set made me go, okay, it's way less about the writing, and and this could be kind of overinflated because of how like moving that first experience was for me, but it's way more about communicating how it is that this thing makes you feel, and and what is your perspective on it, you know, and being honest about that, right? Like, I think if you write something, if you write a bit and whatever it is that you're writing, something pissed you off, right? And you were angry about it, like it really like, or it was just like, it was pesky and annoying at whatever. But when you do it the first time and you still have that in your bones, then I think at the very least, it's interesting to watch. It might not be funny because it might not have those jokes yet, but if it's interesting to watch, then you have listeners. And that's where I think the work begins. But if it's not interesting, and you're always interesting to watch, because I can see on one level or another, I'm watching you do your material or do your improv, and then I'm watching you kind of like dip out of that and go like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's a real human thing, because what we're doing is not natural. It's not a natural for like, so, I mean, I can't put a number on the majority, but certainly majority people, their deepest fear is public speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Far and away. And so when you're asking yourself, what am I doing? That's a natural human thing. Like that's the correct response to what's happening.
So do you like that, or am I taking everyone out when I do that?
No, I like it
because
it's I'm engaged all the way through. You're not pretending through whatever bomb might be happening. Like you're, it just works because you're being honest and, you know, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think the most important thing, like starting out, and I put myself in this category too, is just like being able to properly communicate what it is you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because, just the odd, like they could be laughing because they don't know what you're saying, and that could be funny too.
Right.
But
which I find a lot when I listen to the recordings, I feel like that's the reason why people laugh, because I don't know where I'm fucking going with it. And I'm like, why are people laughing at this? Like I've worked so hard on this bit. I wrote it out and no one's laughing. But when I go fucking like crazy, everyone's like, ah.
Yeah. So question. When you sit down to write a bit or you write most of the time, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay. You've got your premise. Mm-hmm. When you if you could like picture kind of like with a 3 kind of like dimensionality, like you've got your premise. Do you see it going one way? Like this is my sole perspective on it? Or like, are you kind of, I guess, that feels like a leading question. What I'm trying to say is how I think about premises now is the premise is, if you build it correctly, if you set that foundation, it's kind of like a playground. Mm-hmm. And anything, and you just go up there with that premise long enough, and you start to find little things in that playground.
Right.
And you can kind of pick it up and go, yeah, is this anything? No. Okay. What about this? Mm-hmm. And then okay, cool. That one's cool. You save it. Instead of trying to make a story out of it right away, because you're a storyteller. Like you tell stories and not like 1, 2, 3 line jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Which I find right now, it's like I'm starting to see that it's a lot more difficult because I'm expecting laughs. And when I don't get it, I get in my own head and I'll just let the story go. Like I won't finish it.
Yeah.
Or I'll rush through it to get to the funny stuff. And then everything loses. So I think what I have to do is just like build on telling the story, but having at least every other line some kind of punchline, right? Right now, dude, like I'm starting to write where nothing is structured. I just write down fucking the bit at the top, and then I'll just write bullet points of what I think could be funny with it.
Yeah.
And I notice and this has just always been me, I always like to go into a bit like what you're saying, just go one way and then flip it, completely flip it, because that's just how I am in real life. When I talk to the homies, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how I feel. And at the very end, I'm like, no, you know what? That's not how I feel. And then I'll fucking...
That's great.
Yeah. I don't know if it works. Like, I haven't really found it working on stage yet, but I know with my homies, like, that would always work for them.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm trying to take that now and apply it to the stage, which I think is just, I got to get comfortable with the silence like you do, because you said something earlier. You were like saying, maybe it's not funny, but it's interesting. How the fuck do you see that it's interesting? Because stuff could be interesting, but you get no reactions of people. You know what I mean? Like, there's no laughs. So how do you differentiate that?
Right. I think that's more of, I'm saying that as an observer. It's interesting to watch. Like, some people are just not interesting to watch or listen to.
100%.
And it's way harder, I think, for them to figure out a way into what it is we're trying to do. And so that's kind of like an edge that I don't know if it can be taught or not, right? But
do you feel it on stage though? Do you feel like what I'm saying right now, even though I'm not getting any laughs and it's quiet, people are paying attention? Do you feel that, or?
I would listen to it, you know, because I mean, on one level we're talking about comedy, right? But it also doesn't feel like, you seem genuinely, here's what it is. You've got to be interesting. You've got to be interested to be interesting.
That's
right?
good.
You've got to be like
That's
turned
good.
on by whatever it is that you're talking about.
I see that, yeah.
Enough to not really care whether you're getting the laughs, right? Like, as hard as that can be sometimes.
Yeah, I see.
You've got to take that 5 minutes or that 8 minutes to, I'm going to do my best for you, right? But I'm also using this as research. Like, you guys are a group study right now, and I'm going to try to mine this audience for whatever I can, and then I'm on to the next thing, right? Because I think over time, like, the stuff that starts to work, it just does get downloaded into some deep subconscious thing that's why I think it's so different when you go and watch someone that's been doing it for decades. It doesn't even, it feels like it's otherworldly. It's like, how are they doing this?
Right, dude.
Right. And it's, B Smite was talking about how it is like, when you're batting in the major leagues, you hit the ball before your brain even has a chance
Muscle
to figure
memory.
out what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
dude. Yeah.
And that is fucking fascinating to me, because it's like, this person has been doing it so long, unless they're Jesus Christ, right? They've been doing it for so long that they just know what will work. And I've seen really good people bomb before, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I watched Kurt Metzger the other day at the store, and like, I mean, like, the laughs weren't there, dude. I thought it was great because I could see the beginning of the bit.
Yeah, the
right?
bit. Yeah, yeah.
And whether he had tried that out on stage or not yet, like, I have to, as like I don't consider myself a comedian, but like, I'm a student of this shit.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
And to make it to the level where, like, the Comedy Store, man, the greatest on planet Earth could be stopping by every single night.
Yeah, dude. It's wild.
And to watch them to make it to that level and treat the Comedy Store as the gym, like,
As
we
open
treat
mic, the NoHo.
as their open
Dude.
mics.
Wild.
It's ever fascinating for
Wild.
me.
What's his name?
Yeah.
CJ Price was saying that on, like, this. He was the second guy I had on this, but he was saying that he got to see Sebastian Maniscalco, he got to see him work his bits out like a year before his special came out at the store.
Yeah.
So he got to see what it was at the inception compared to the finished product.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a valuable experience to see. Someone who's a comic, who's getting paid, who has a special on Netflix, but to see him work his shit out, like you said, at the gym in a fucking dungeon where he's not getting any laughs. He's just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
To fucking getting paid X amount of money to do it live and have a special. That right there is like, you can't duplicate that.
Yeah.
You cannot duplicate that. You just have to go out there and see it for yourself, you know?
Yeah, it's really exciting, and it's cool to meet people that are like trying to like tread through the same pile of shit path that we're on, because like as dark as the odds can be, like it's, I mean, we can't control how late we started. And we can't start any earlier. So I think like if we just look around and open our eyes to the fact that they're like, everyone here is trying to try this out and make some sort of a mark, right? Like, that's a cool thing to be a part of. Like whether or not we fucking get our names painted on the side of that fucking wall one day, you know?
Yeah.
Which we will. But yeah, it's cool. What's your, because I know you did production and stuff. You've done film. What's the goal? What's the goal with stand up?
With stand up,
like logistically, like scale wise, like what is it that you would be like the ideal, like, I've defined success in my head and this is it?
That's a difficult question right now, because I've always been the type of person who did do that, who kind of like was worried about the outcome. Yeah, of course, dude. Of course. Yeah. Do your thing. But like focus on the outcome and like focus on what success is. And I did that with film, dude. And I think that's the shit that fucking really fucked me up. It really did. Like I thought I was going to be this guy who was from Vegas. I thought I was going to be like the Martin Scorsese of Las Vegas, where I told local stories about people like us, you know what I mean? And I think what that did to me, it was a detriment. I'm a big reader. I've said this on a couple podcasts now, but one of my favorite books is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Cool.
By Mark Manson.
Yeah.
And I follow him on Twitter, and he had said and this is when I first started comedy and literally a week before I started the podcast, but he tweeted out, he was just like, don't think of yourself as an undiscovered genius. Stop that. Don't do that. He said, simplify it. What do you want to be in life? Do you want to be a student to what your career is? Do you want to be a great partner to your partner? Do you want to be a great father to your child? Don't fucking overthink it. And then I had a podcast with Armand Gorgian, and he said, don't worry about the outcome. It's your inner compass. If that's what you want, then fine. But you have to put that aside and really worry about what's your heart telling you.
Right.
So I'm approaching this now like in such way where it's like I'm a student of comedy. I have these skills in film that I can bring to comedians, and I can learn from you guys. And at the same time, we can get clips from it. You know what I mean? And the social media thing. So I'm approaching this as I have to be 110% not even the best comedian, but the best student of comedy.
Yeah.
And I will let it go from there. And right now, my inner compass is just telling me to do the podcast, do the stand-ups, work as hard as you can on both of them, fucking take out the weed. You know what I mean? Like I was a huge stoner. And for like the past week, I haven't really done it. You know what I mean? I'll still do it, but like it's like at night. But I won't ever do it again. I just won't do it before a mic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I've maybe smoked once before a mic.
It's awful.
Yeah,
awful.
I heard you talk a little bit about that with Beast Mite.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't even remember how it went. I must have blacked it out.
But that's the whole thing now. It's like, if I were to answer that question right now, honestly, it would be a thing where it's just like, I just want to be able to provide for a family.
Sure.
Right? That is my main goal right now, especially being 34. And it's just like, right now the industry kind of went left. So me and my girlfriend are kind of struggling financially, and we're just kind of like, we don't know. And like, I just want to make sure that to the best of my ability, whatever my compass is telling me to do, which is comedy and this podcast, I'm hoping that those two things can supplement a lifestyle for me and my girl, who will one day be my wife and the mother of my children. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, why I started the podcast, because it's like I would talk to all the comedians and fucking everyone would be like, you don't make any money. You don't make any money. So I was like, okay, well, I got to build myself in the digital world. So the podcast and stuff like that is helping me. And like, I've had guys like comedians, you know who Mike Falzone is?
Oh my
God. He fucking, that episode I did with Miranda, he took that reel and posted it on his story.
Really?
I didn't get tons of followers off it. I don't even know if I got one. But the thing is that, dude, that's what I want. I want people to see my face digitally, because it's only a matter of time till they start following me. We meet each other in real life. We have a conversation. Maybe one day, you know, he'll want to be on this podcast. You know what I mean? But it's like, I had this epiphany right when I started comedy. It's like, it's weird. At 34, starting comedy is not ideal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I think the thing about that is I get what I understand what you mean by that, because of the narrative, and it's not totally weightless at all. The narrative of like, you need, like Louis is infamous for saying this, Rock is infamous for saying this, like it takes 20 years to find your voice, right? But I was talking to Chris Rob about this, Chris Gillum. I've also go by one name. Pick a fucking name, dude. Very funny comedian. Look him up.
Hilarious. I had him on here.
I forgot what I was saying, because I'm so fucking. I've called him Chris Rob so many times because.
Is that his name?
And his name isn't Chris. His name there's Chris Rob.
They're two different people.
There's Chris Rob Banks, and then Chris Gillum. Chris Gillum. These two are the same.
Oh, they are.
Right?
Okay.
And I want to talk, dude. I've got so many names, but pick one, dude. The thing about finding your voice and all that stuff, right? Like, I don't know how much better I would be if I started at 18. I do not know. There's no way of knowing.
Yeah,
right?
dude.
But I know for sure that like I started when I did, and I damn sure had a lot more to say then than when I was 18 years old.
Dude, that's what fucking made me keep going with comedy, because I was struggling like my first week or two. I didn't know if I wanted to keep doing it. I honestly was going to move back to Vegas. No joke.
Really?
No joke. Go back to Vegas and do the family business type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Miranda Meadows, I knew her before I started comedy. We actually worked together. I was like a coordinator on something, and she was a PA on it like a year ago or something. But I ran into her in the first open mic I was here out in LA. And I was just like, we were talking. I was like, I don't know what to write about, dude. Like, I don't think this is me. I came from screenplay and it's not translating. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And she was just like, well, how old are you? I'm like 34. And she goes, bro, you have 10 years of material that you're not, more than her. Because she's, I think, 24, 25. But she's like, you got 10 more years of material than I do.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I haven't written anything. She goes, experience. What's the like, what did you live? And I was like, oh. You know what I mean? So that's interesting that you'd said that, because I honestly feel like if I even were to start 8 years ago when I was 26, I don't think I would have been like anywhere near as where I am now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you are right in a sense that there's no better time to start to where you started, because I don't know. It's just weird how fucking life works, bro. How old are you?
I'll be 29 in November.
29. Damn.
Yeah.
You're fucking young, bro. I thought you were 23. I thought you were a college graduate.
Filipinos, dude.
Yeah,
Let's
that's right.
go. By the way, you brought up Joe Coy earlier, and I
Yeah.
want to touch on what you said.
Okay.
But Joe Coy, he's in one of his specials, he talks about like how he's like in this niche group because he's half Filipino and Filipinos don't accept him. Fuck off, Joe Coy. Dude, you look like all my uncles. Okay? Doesn't matter that you're half. You look Filipino. I'm Filipino, dude. I'm half Filipino. Yeah. No one knows.
Yeah.
My family goes like, if we didn't know you when you were a kid, we would be like, who is this guy?
Right.
Do you Joe Coy is about, as much as I'm not a part of Joe Coy's club, he's not a part of mine. Okay. You're not this tortured, half white, half Filipino guy. You're Filipino, dude. Okay.
It was rough growing up Filipino, bro. I don't know how it was for you, man, but fucking, I grew up in Vegas. Well, I went from Hawaii and then I go to Vegas, and it was just rough, dude. Because 10 years ago, Vegas was a different place. It was like very conservative. You know what I mean? Like Filipinos, how they are now, and like because of social media, Filipinos blown up. And what was crazy about it is, maybe I should make a bit out of this, but I was like, when I was younger, in my 20s, I would wait for the time Filipinos would blow up, and I was like, okay, so it's black dudes right now, so I just got to get through the Mexicans, and then like, you know, the lighter skin we get, I was like, Filipino, we're like number 4 or 5 on the list.
Right.
We're gonna get there. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's kind of what happened.
It's what happened, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right? Because, and even then, like everyone who ever had like an Asian fetish, they only like Japanese or Korean dudes. And I was like, what the fuck about the Filipinos, man? What the fuck? But now I've been in a relationship for 7 years, and now Filipinos have blown up, and my girl's like, you wish you were single, right? I was like, no, but I do.
Yeah. But now, but also she was ahead of the trend.
She was, dude. That's
know?
true.
Yeah.
She's a good gal, man. She's a good. I talk her about it a lot. It sucks that you can't meet her. I wish she was here, but I don't know, man. Fuck it. Maybe it's because she's been gone for like a week, and I'm fucking really sad right now.
Where's she?
She's in France. She's visiting family. Yeah, she's originally from France. Yeah.
She did mention that outside of the cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, man. It's just like one of those things where, fuck, dude. I don't know how I got so lucky, bro. I'm such a fucking scumbag. I'm such a piece of shit. Such a piece of shit, bro.
No, man. You seem like a cool guy. The thing is, it's funny, man. Spending so much time around comedians, we really only do it in the open mic setting or at a show, right? But I'm just starting to hang out outside of the context of comedy with, and that's not even what we're doing here, dude. We're not even really hanging out.
No, we're not.
This is for you, dude. We're working on our craft while you sit and swipe on your Instagram.
Yeah, mom.
Dude. Yeah, it's funny. We don't really hang out otherwise because everyone's got their own thing going on. So it's cool to like. I mean, this is the longest we've ever spoken.
True. That's very true.
Right.
Very true.
Yeah.
But honestly, dude, like I've been hanging out a lot more at like the store and stuff like that, dude. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Comedians are the best people to hang out with. It's insane how like I think it's just because of the honesty thing. You know what I mean? You have to be so authentic where you can't bullshit, and if you do, we can sniff him out.
Yeah.
We can sniff out a fucking bullshitter.
Yeah.
And it's that's what I've grown to love so much about this community, because we were talking about earlier how Filipinos lie. That was me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not that I would lie to an extent where I was just like, oh no, that wasn't me, but it would be like, yeah, I'm having fun. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like on film sets, are you okay? Yeah, I'm good, dude. I'm having a great time. Fucking working 18 hours a day, fucking never sitting down, fucking shitty food all day. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
With this, dude, you cannot fucking lie. And if you do, you're going to be ostracized. You have to be the most authentic you, and people will accept you. You know, people accept a dirtbag you rather than a fucking polished up liar.
Yeah, which is interesting because most of what comics do on stage is not tell the truth.
To a certain extent, I think.
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
I think the sentiment is true.
Like with you, dude. Like I said, I think that's why I'm so gravitated towards you, because it doesn't feel like you're fucking bullshitting me, dude. I remember the first fucking bit you had was you were teaching, you're a substitute teacher over the summer, and fucking you had a kid from like Russia or Ukraine. And you told that bit, and I was like, holy fuck. If this actual event just happened today and you talked about it on stage, I got to learn something from you, because that is masterful for me. You know what I mean? Like, for you to experience something and then turn it into a fucking joke and you just go off on it on stage. Do you mind if I hit that, by the way?
Yeah, dude. I think for context, thank you, by the way. What happened was I was a TA for this summer school program, and there was a Russian and a Ukrainian refugee, and they did not speak a lick of fucking English. And so I get to the first day, and she's like, "Hey, my name is blah blah blah, and so you'll just kind of be like helping me out here, and we also have two refugees." And I just pictured like they're sopping wet.
Sopping wet.
Just like two fifth
Off
graders.
the boat.
Yeah, dude. They smell. They just have like a loaf of bread that's also soaked.
And so a fucking small bowl of soup.
Yeah, they got shot 4 times.
They've got like fucking, what is it called? Like shocks. What is it? Like in World War One, where they're like
shell shock.
shell shock. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And so I'm like, okay, well, what are we gonna do with them? And she goes, well, you're gonna teach them English. And I was like, what?
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro.
You know,
What I said yesterday, how you just fucking say what we have on our mind, but you just say it differently. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there, bro. You just, right there is what I'm talking about. That's the Dayton I love, dude.
Thanks, man. Well, it was the whole, like, I studied film. I'm a screenwriting major,
Right,
dude. I didn't study linguistics or whatever. I don't even know if that's what it is, right? Dude, I knew this girl I was talking about the other day. I worked with her in Nordstrom Rack. She was a linguistics major, and she didn't learn another language. I thought that's what linguistics was.
Wait, what? Should she only knew English?
She knew Spanish, but she...
Well, I mean, it's kind of like required now in America.
Right. Well, she was a Mexican woman, but that was before college and stuff. So, but I didn't. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm still not sure what linguistics is, but I didn't study that or whatever it takes to like. I got Rosetta Stone one time for for like 15 days, dude, and I was like, man, fuck this. This isn't gonna help at all. I don't have the discipline, right? But she told me to, like, I was gonna teach them English, and they're not any better for it. They don't know English at all. But I got paid.
Like, dude, I'm telling you, bro, I don't know how you do it, bro. I really don't know how you do it. I gotta learn. What goes through your mind? What goes through your mind when you're on stage and like, are you talking to yourself? I gotta figure this out because, dude.
Am I talking to myself? I do that a lot. I do talk to myself a ton. I don't. I think what it is, man. If there is anything to what I'm doing, I think it's just that I'm genuinely bewildered by half the shit that goes on around me.
There you go. I see it now. I definitely see that now. Yes.
Yes. And I think I got that from my dad because he just like whatever it was that was going on, it was such a big, I mean, it set our day back by a full 30 fucking seconds. And it was the biggest deal to him. You would think that we just got carjacked, and he called us a bunch of racial slurs or whatever it was.
Was he the Filipino one?
He was He's Filipino, yeah. But everything was just such a big deal to him.
Yeah.
And so I think I probably got that lens from him. And I mean, everyone who does stand up is an overthinker.
Right.
Right. And so you'll walk away from an interaction. Still to this day, when I think of moments that are, and I'm curious about this for you too, like when I think of moments that were like so embarrassing because of the way that I behaved or like something that I should have said but didn't.
Right.
Literally decades now have gone by and I'm still thinking.
Me too, dude.
That's what I should have done.
Yes, me too.
And so I think screenwriting and stand-up go hand in hand in that what we're doing is we're rewriting history. This is what I said, even though it's not what I said. This is what I did, because we can't stop thinking about it. And in order for us to fix it in our heads, we've got to make it into what we grew to want it to be.
I see what you were saying now about earlier, how you were just like, yeah, we are authentic, but sometimes we do lie. That's good because yes, I see that.
Yeah. And yeah, man. I mean, what's a moment that you look back on in like early childhood or middle school or something where you go like, because back then, dude, like I don't. Today might be a little bit different. Like I work with kids still, but like so that I think they might have a little bit better of a sense of who they are, but still like I'll listen to them and go like, yeah, you didn't come up with that. You're just regurgitating shit your fucking parents said this morning.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
know?
Yeah.
What's an example of something that like you think back on and go like, man, I literally start to perspirate when I think about it.
Because of what?
Because of the way it made me feel, or I embarrassed myself.
I would probably fucking, if I were to pick anything, it'd be I should have stuck up for myself more in high school. I should have, but I was just like I didn't know how to fight. I thought I did.
People picked on you?
Oh my gosh, dude, it was ridiculous.
Shit.
It was fucking ridiculous, dude. Because like I said, Vegas was very completely different at the time. But I was fucking, I had acne, and
Me too.
yeah, and that was obviously in high school. That's a huge thing. I would get fucking made fun of from girls on the cheerleading squad, but they would have acne too. But because they were a cheerleader and I was unathletic, I wasn't like I played baseball and whatever, but I would always, I wasn't the best, but it was just one of those things where I don't know, I'd always get fucking picked on, and it wasn't until I started using kind of like the Filipino charm, you know what I mean, to take their insults and flip it on its head, to where I started gaining respect from actual like jock athletes, and then I got popular. But fucking high school was rough, bro. The first 2 years, man.
I mean, what do you
rough.
think? I mean, did you go to a big high school, small high school?
I went to a small high school. It was the only Catholic high school in Vegas at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, just Catholic high school?
Yeah,
or
it was just Catholic high school. I mean, other people of denominations were there, but it was literally Bishop Gorman, bishop, so it's Catholic.
did you go to church before?
Yeah. I grew up Catholic my whole life.
That's what it is, dude. That's why that's why you lie.
Huh.
Because I wasn't Catholic, but the guilt, it's like the Catholic guilt, dude. Like you're going like, that's why maybe, right? I'm going to project a little bit, but I think it's two things: the Filipino,
Right.
and you're full Filipino, right?
Yeah.
Filipino, and you grew up Catholic, so like the Catholic guilt is installed, right?
Right,
and then
100%.
the expectations on the Filipino side, right? Like if you're not meeting those expectations, the easiest thing to do is lie,
Right. Right.
because that takes it.
The responsibility, the fucking like.
Yeah, and it might not do that, right? But it might make you feel a little bit better if
Right.
you rewrite the narrative,
Dude.
even though you're not convincing at it yet.
Right.
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 That's just I'm not sure if that's anything, but the Catholic thing makes a lot of sense, because I think that might be why you kind of like for that first week, like you kind of had your tail in between your legs as far as stand-up goes, is because like it's like, what am I doing here?
Right. Yeah, dude.
Right.
And it was crazy because one of the notes I got from, I forget who it was, but he was just like, yo, like you need to fucking like find the funny from the authenticity. Don't lie. Because I had this whole bit about how I was on a walk and I saw a guy burying his dog. It didn't fucking happen. But he literally right after that, he was just like, yo, like we can tell. Just like pick something out of your day that you thought was funny and then just talk about that. You know what I mean? And that was so hard for me to do. It took me months to get to there. It took me months. I mean, I've only been doing it for 3 months, so it's not,
Right. I don't know if that's funny. I don't know if I don't think there are any hard and fast rules with stand up.
No, there's not. I'm really learning the hard way.
Yeah.
20 episodes in, I'm like, there's no. But the thing is that I'm taking so many gems from everybody, dude. Like the one thing that I'm so thankful for, Miranda Meadows. She was just like, you see it, I get in my head way too much. And she said, don't do that before your first show. Get in your body. Go out for a run, go to the gym, do something, but get in your body. And as soon as she said that, dude, I was like, oh. Because I can see it with her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When she's on stage and shit like that. I don't know if you've ever seen her, but dude,
No.
she is like one of the fucking she's herself on stage.
Okay.
And it's like one of those things where she can't even help it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the shit that comes out of her mouth. I don't know if it was prepped. I don't know if she thought about it before, but it's just in the moment, present. And she's just, she was like, don't just be funny, be funny. And it clicked. I was like, holy fuck, dude. Mm-hmm. That's what I was missing the whole time. I was thinking that it had to be like an intellectual thing where I had to be funny, but it's not. Like I was class clown, so it was just like one of those things where I just can be myself almost.
Yeah.
And if I'm comfortable, it'll come out. But if like I'm still a little shy, so if it's like a new like if I go to a different open mic, I bomb all the time. Bomb every single fucking new mic I go to. I fucking bomb.
Yeah.
It'll take maybe like the third or fourth time to where everyone's like, I'll get a chuckle, but I bomb every single time.
Yeah. I think part of the, I mean, me too,
Yeah.
man. I think part of the thing with the bombing is that, I mean, it's all about your objective here, right? Like you've got the kind of lower level objective, which is to make this crowd laugh. This kind of like eclectic group of people, like they came from all over the place, especially at a show, right? And I mean, you've witnessed this. There could be the same 8 or 9 people in an open mic. The next hour is completely different.
Yesterday, right? Improv to open mic, completely different.
And I think there might have been 1 or 2 other people.
Yeah, I honestly think it was one. I think it was the last guy, Matt Burns.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
So there's like the kind of like lower scale or whatever it is, kind of like micro goal is to make this group of people laugh. And then the macro is all the mics you do today is one more stripe on that pile of paint. Right? And you just keep doing that. And I think the improvements that you make are almost sub-perceptual. You don't think that you left any better, but
Never.
Right.
Never.
But you did it, and you have gotten better. So like that's proof of concept, man.
True.
Like, do you record all your sets?
All of them.
Okay. So if you looked at your first, second, third, fourth, and then the ones you did yesterday,
Rough.
you know, there have been improvements. And
I think with everybody too, dude, especially you. Like the first time I saw you, I think I was about a month in when I first saw you. And then now I'm just like, holy shit, dude. It's wild to see just what 2 months can do. Right?
yeah,
It's wild, bro.
it's also not like a exclusively upward trajectory.
No,
you know, like
never.
I think my first year, I waited almost exactly a year to do my first show.
Holy fuck.
And I did 10 minutes. I produced that first show.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
And I mean, no one else was booking me, so that was what I had to
okay.
do, right?
That's
And
fair.
then I started getting booked, right? But I waited that first year, but that first year I was still tripping out about the fact that like I was doing stand up. It was open mics, but I was doing stand up. Like I was hanging around comics who like a few of which have since been passed at the store and like are doing the factory and the improv and stuff.
Great.
So kind of just tripping out about that, but I did way more mics that first year than I have so far my second, or than I did in my second. And then this half year, I think it's just more about like, yes, getting those reps in, but also like, I don't want to make this too much of like a woo-woo thing, but like just waking up and doing my best to just believe that I'm taking the right steps here, man. Like I'm doing the mics, I'm writing, I'm hanging out with comics, like, and if I don't get anything else from it, I'm having a great time doing it.
Right.
And I think like, you know, if I were to get passed at the store tomorrow, it wasn't that hard. And so, I like that I'm having a difficult time right now. I genuinely do. Would it be sick to be, you know, like middling for whoever?
Right.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
of course, yeah.
Right. But I mean, everyone wants that, dude. I was on a film set the other day for a short for Fujifilm, and
Nice, dude. I did something for them.
oh, really?
Like a couple years ago. Yeah. I was like a producer, and my homie was the director and DP.
By chance, was it for All Cells Final?
No, it was a camera that they were coming out with. It was like a new camera that could do like it's not oceanography. It was like they could shoot in the water type shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was on set for this thing, All Cells Final, and like it was just background and stuff. But like, dude, I was there for like 12 hours, and I mean, it took no time at all for one of the actors to start. I mean, like actors only talk about one thing every 11 minutes, which is like how fucking no one understands how bad they want to be an actor. And I'm like, dude, you're sitting in a room full of actors
yeah.
and you're bitching about a thing that you're currently waiting to do. You're headed to wardrobe in like 10 minutes, and you actually have lines, so suck my dick.
What a fucking asshole, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Fucking A, man. I don't want to fucking talk bad about actors because I've got really good friends who are actors.
Sure.
But goddamn.
Yeah.
Goddamn, bro. Fuck.
But it's just like, we don't have to we don't have to wait 12 hours to do our
Right,
thing.
exactly. Yeah, dude. That's why I fell in love with comedy, dude. I tell people all the time, when you do a short film, that's months of your life, thousands of dollars of your life.
Yep.
Right? And when you show someone, they're gonna fucking lie to you, especially if it's a homie. Oh, that was great. You know what I mean? Comedy is one of those things where you cannot fucking lie. You fucking come up with something, you go test it out on the mic, and the feedback is honest.
Yep.
And dude, that's the honesty is what I love about comedy.
Yeah. And you got to have $5 and just a little bit of balls.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And they will tell you, they could be, I think they can be wrong. I think the audience can be wrong. Sometimes you walk into a mic, and we've both done this. We've done well on stage. We've done our job, but it's a shitty mic.
That's true. That's true. And it's
a bad hour.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
true.
know?
But at the same time, it's like that feedback is automatic. It's like it's immediate. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And then another kind of like ancillary like detail is like the I think a lot of comics have problems with this. Like when they think something is funny, it's like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Not make a sound with their body.
Right. Yeah. They'll just on their phone.
Yeah.
Type it in the
that
notes.
That was good. That was good. And then they'll go like, hey, that was fucking. It's like, well, why didn't you laugh, bitch? Right? But yeah, dude, I'm just having a great time doing it, man.
Yeah.
And meeting like people like you that are like on, you know, a similar path but with a different background. And I think like just the ability to trip out on the fact that like we made a decision to do this thing, and we're doing it with next to no evidence that it's going to work.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah. I honestly think we're going to be coming, like in my experience anyway, I'm going to be coming out of this experience, whether I make it or not. I'm going to be coming out with honestly one of the most authentic and great like the greatest friends I've ever made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things for me. Like that's, if I don't make it, which I probably won't, but if I come out of this and I can have a handful of friends that I know 20 years from now, we can fucking grab a beer, we can do a fucking podcast, shoot the shit.
Right.
That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
You know, like that's more than any amount of money that I can take, because I've had friends come and go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of them I wish they hadn't gone. You know, and no amount of money can bring that person back into my life.
Right.
You know, no matter what I do. So the friendships that I'm making, people I'm meeting, to me, that's, as of right now, is what I'm enjoying the most.
Yeah.
You know, we are coming up on fucking hour 20 here, but I do want to.
No shit.
Yeah, I do want to ask you this: how has comedy helped you in teaching, or has teaching helped you in comedy? Like what?
I think just logistically, last year I had a long-term gig that let me like write for like 3 hours out of the day. So I think that's helped with comedy, but it also, you know, like it kind of writes itself, man. Like all you just have to do is listen. And I think that's one thing that it's helped with is like just like being able to see through a child's eyes is something that I haven't really gotten a whole lot of exposure to because, you know, like I have nephews and a niece, but they're kind of far away now. So like being around that, I mean, stuff, the older we get, stuff is less and less novel. And so lots of stuff happens to them and it's all novel. It's all fucking new. They haven't dealt with this stuff before. And I think that's helped with comedy because yes, it does write itself, but it's also like, if I can just kind of like appreciate the fact that this little thing happened to me. Dude, I almost got hit by a car yesterday skating by,
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to start carrying dead batteries to just,
Yeah, just chuck them, dude.
yeah, dude. I mean, what's the big fucking cylinder one?
Like V9 or V8. Or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But just like appreciate like, that could have been better, but it could have been worse. And like, you know, not be so hard on myself about the fact that like I used to hate that I was an overthinker, man. But like
Yeah, dude.
it's only gonna help if we think that we've got a shot at it, man. And I think you have a shot at it, dude. I really do. Like when you say like you're probably not gonna make it, like I get that it's like I hope most of it is in jest. I get that like the odds can be, you know, whatever for you, but also like we're both starting out, but you're really just starting out, you know? And you just are getting better.
Thank
you
you,
know,
man.
just by that like repetition and like,
I'm trying.
I don't know, man. So as far as teaching goes, man, it sucks. Don't do it, dude. Stop trying to get me to be a teacher. I've never subbed for a teacher and them not gone, yeah, you should get your credential.
I love it, Dayton. Well, off that, dude, let's tell the people where they can find you on socials.
Yeah, man. At Dayton Rollolazo. I'll give it, you've got it, so you can tag it in the thing. But and then the Spam and Eggs podcast, dude, where we're figuring it out.
Yeah. And I'll link it, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, I'll link it at the bottom as I always do. Dayton, bro, thank you so much for coming in today on such short notice. This fucking vodka, whatever the fuck you brought over here is getting me spinny.
Cool, man. Me too.
But dude, I appreciate you, brother.
Yes.
You're fucking awesome, bro. And again, thank you for everyone for watching. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, bro.